Okay, so welcome everyone to the June 21st, 2022 edition of Omaha, Carlentini, and Beyond. Genealogy, history, culture, you name it. We're here to discuss it. And Nuccia says she can only stay for a half hour, so I'm going to give her the floor first. Are you there, Nuccia?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, what's going on in Carlentini, Lentini?
At the moment, we are preparing. Okay, I'm at school. I'm engaged with final examinations for my students, 2 classes, 28 students, and they are going to. One group is going to finish on June the 30th, and the other one on July the 2nd. And as soon as we finish, in between, we have a meeting with the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the organization to talk about Borgo Rizzo.
Mm.
We have organized something connecting with the title of the meeting is just I'm just working on that. It's living heritage, and it is about decolonizing heritage, which means that we Italians have a difficult heritage from the fascist regime, because they built this sort of colonies which were most like the ones they built in Libya, as Italy at the time wanted to be an empire.
Mm-hmm.
And they also wanted to colonize agricultural territories like the one in Borgo Rizzo, in fact. And it was founded in the 40s. And then it was used to control the territory, to build a sort of ethics, to follow fascism values. So the problem is that we have to deal with this difficult heritage. And this is the main point. There's also some work that I've done with my students, because they are studying the recent history. They study the First World War, the Second World War, and the fascist regime. And probably we do not have a great awareness of what fascism meant in Italy. Mussolini was even appreciated in the colonies, and the lots of little Italies that were there in the States at the time. He was considered a great leader in a sense. I did some studies about that. Anyway, what we are doing now is how to deal with this difficult heritage and how to make it alive, in a sense that it should be given another chance. And I'm talking about architecture, of course. It can be something nostalgic, because we have to cope with this difficult heritage. Not like the Germans, but we Italians feel ashamed about our fascist regime. So what we have to do is how to think about it. It can't be just, it could be something, I mean, it's a brainstorming of ideas. It can't be just memories. What my mother can remember of that place after the Second World War, for example, was that her sister was taken there for a summer colony, And these little children were given food because we had a lot of economical problems at the time. There is a tale from my mother, and it is about, it dates back 1943, 44, when she and her father went with their cart to visit the her little sister who was there. And this little sister of hers wanted to go back home. And there was also another little girl, about 7 years old, who wanted to go back home because Borgo Rizzo is far from Carlentini. And my grandfather took back that little child, that little as well. And when they came back to Carlentini, my grandfather was reproached by the father of that girl. And why did you bring her back to me? Because the problem at the time was to find food, to give food to everybody. So even if the little children in Borgo Rizzo were not happy because they missed the family, they just had a little food, for the big families was a good point to send the little children there. So it was back in the 50s, and then how it was used in the 60s and in the 70s. It was just a place to go to spend some times because the weather is good there, and during summer you can have a refreshing walk and something like this. The problem now is, what can we do with that? What can we do with that? Last year we had a summer school, and this year we are going to have another one. People are coming from around the world, and we are discussing how people are connected with places and how they build their memories and their strong feelings. So that's all for, for the moment. And we are going to have this meeting on June the 30th.
What's the name of the colony that they sent the kids to?
Borgo Rizzo. So it was after the Second World War, in the period of reconstruction. Most of the families didn't have enough money to feed all their children. So as I told you, one of my mother's sisters was sent there. My mother stayed at home to help because in their family there were 5 children. And this little sister of hers spent there 15 days, and then she got homesick and she wanted to get back. So my grandfather was moved and he accepted, and he also brought with him another little girl, and the father was really strict and sent this little girl back because it was a way to keep poor children and feed them. But I'm talking about reconstruction in the 50s,
Yeah.
According to that memory. So the problem is now how to connect good memories with the place and think of what it can represent. My students have done a hard work about that. And they are trying to, as I teach English literature, we have done a sort of itinerary for local history. So last month we went to Borgo Rizzolo, who was an estate who belonged to an English family, Elsie Eaton and the Baron Cassis. And we visit that place and we see how in that place was the production of the silk. So it's an industrial heritage. So we moved from industrial heritage in the first days of the 90s, our century, to a more recent one, the one which was built in 1940 by Mussolini, who wanted to colonize and control rural areas. So we have started with this productive borgo, which was an agricultural borgo, and the main production was the silk, along with oranges, along with other production. And it's it's not far from Carlentini, it's near Francofonte, in between I mean, in year 2000, they started to build a hotel, Hotel Torre, in this Borgo Rizzo, and it was a failure, of course. Nothing remains from this construction. It was sort of exploitation. Anyway, we were interested in the past histories in between. So the first decades of 21st century. So, I mean, it was a sort of belle epoque even here in Sicily. So we started with that, and then now we are going to analyze this fascist Borg, which was it was similar to other fascist colonies organized near Catania or near the lake of Biviere. They were just rural settlements to control the territory mainly. And they were strictly organized according to the organizational needs, the basic needs of the population. I mean, they had a school, a church, and a post office, just the essential thing. And then the population lived around the country. There was a main square and Il Palazzo del Fascio, which was the palace of the fascist. So this is what we are working on in these months. We started last September and we are continuing as a filling gap because we are going to have another second summer school at the beginning of September with the University of Basilea and Stockholm, which are the ones who are organizing these summer schools on the territory. And I mean, it's a great contact, really.
Yeah, the summer schools and the archaeology group that used it last year, and it has been getting usage.
There were two groups last year. There was a group for the summer school, which is the one organized by the professor Emilio Di Stretti from Basilea University and Alessandro Petti from the Royal Academy Institute of Art of Stockholm. And there was another group from University of Rome who worked for excavations, and so there were two groups last year in Borgo Rizzo, and they lived there because some of the residences have been. By the way, Nick, have you visited Borgo Rizzo when you were here, or
Eleanora really wanted me to see it, and unfortunately, I did not have time. There was so much that I wanted to see that I was not able to.
Next time.
Next time. Exactly. But yeah, one of my favorite activities while I was there was going to the museum by Alfio Caltabiano. It's the Ancient Trades and Mysteries. I know Eleanora did a video tour, and I took some videos while I was there. I've been meaning to upload them to YouTube because Alfio explains some of the things in Italian, and then Erica Giorgio translates for me. So it's a good bilingual tour of the facility.
We had to work. We should work on that because that's a living memory of our territory. Because you can make history through objects, and this could be a great project.
Yes, and my thinking is that he needs to have a much larger space to spread all of that out, and to have little vignettes for each occupation that's represented in the museum, because I mean, when I look at these records and I look at the occupations that are described on the records, um, you know, a calzolaio, for example. I mean, that's a cobbler or a shoemaker. And he's
Mhm,
got an exhibit associated with calzolaio.
mhm,
You know, just about every, well, not every, but a lot of occupations are represented in that museum. And to me, that uh, everyday occupations are an important thing for genealogists in particular to pay attention to, because that's, you know, how the regular people make their living. And some of these are kind of lost arts. And it made me think, in the United States, we have two places that I would envision as kind of models for how this place
mhm,
might get organized. One is called Colonial Williamsburg, and it features everything from the period prior to the American Revolution
mhm,
in the 1700s. And then
mhm,
there's another place that I've been to called Plymouth Plantation, and that's
mhm,
up in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and it's representative of the early colonists of North America and how they came and interacted with the native peoples. And there's been a real strong emphasis lately on very accurately telling the story of the native people. Um, and so I just thought that might be a good venue to have an expanded museum that would feature all these, or Borgo Rizzo would be a good
mm. The big
venue.
idea, the big idea could be to um, but it's very expensive anyway. If the
Mhm,
municipality could buy the dismisses houses, in Carlentini, as you have seen, there are lots of little houses, and those little houses were once um, sort of little spaces for artisans. So
mhm,
if each little house could be the place where, as for example, the shoemaker had his little studio,
mhm.
so you could gather all the object there and have even people to perform this
Yes.
ancient trade.
Mhm,
That could be, I mean, the ideal solution, because there are lots and lots of materials that can be reused, and even not just tell, but show how they were used.
mhm,
Even, I mean, he starts from the very beginning in the 90s, the first decades of the 90s, and he collected materials. I mean, as for example, the radio and television repair doesn't exist anymore. But when I
mhm.
was a child, one of my best friend was a radio and television repair, because when
Mhm.
a radio went wrong at the time, they had this, and he had collected all these little, as you have seen, these little old television and little old radios, which needed to be repaired. So this in comparison with the other trades, it's it's not it is not a trade that has been done for so many years, because technical evolution has been too long. So you have a sense of medieval Carlentini up to the end of the Second World War, and then a modern Carlentini, which was like to be shared with other things, even the toys. The toys are
Mhm.
taken from the 60s, as for example. And there were all, I mean, so everything is original, and everything could be given a little house in a sort of expanded
Mhm.
museum. That could be a nice, because you could walk really walking in a sort of time machine. So you walk the streets, you enter, and you are taken back with real objects, not, I mean, it's analogical, it's not digital, it's not reconstructed, it's real. So, I mean, this material is has an incredible value, even an historical value, because you can make history starting from an object, make that object communicate and think something of the past and the people who used it.
Yeah,
So it could be fine.
I'm looking for a
There's
book
lots of work to
because
be
one
done.
of the other
Ciao
places.
ragazzi, ciao a tutti.
Ciao, Silvana.
Ciao, Silvana.
Ciao a
So,
tutti.
would you just kind of quickly summarize for Silvana what we're talking about Borgo Rizzo?
Sì, io ho detto qualcosa su Borgo Rizzo, questa iniziativa che abbiamo il trend, che abbiamo pubblicizzato oggi, e poi siamo finiti a parlare del Museo dei Mestieri Antichi e la possibilità di sviluppo che questo museo potrebbe avere, sì, di Alfio Cattabbiano. E forse adesso Nick stava cercando il libro dei mestieri antichi. Probably, Nick, you were looking for the book in which all the old trades, the book of Alfio Caruso. Were you looking for that book?
Yeah, no, actually, I wanted to mention, although I do have that book and I need to spend some time with it, I wanted to mention another museum that we visited in Catania, which is the Museo dello
Sbarco. Museo dello Sbarco, sì.
which is the Allied invasion of Sicily. It's the Museum of the Allied invasion of Sicily.
Io non ci sono mai stata, mio figlio c'è stato tante volte.
And they didn't have, I mean, they had some wonderful vignettes and displays and so forth. But, you know, if we could get actual living people to demonstrate some of these trades, you know, you could probably get some people that were paid and some people that are volunteers to do these kinds of things. And it could be a tourist attraction on the same scale as that museum in Catania, I think.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that museum.
Well, you should get a chance to visit. I highly recommend it. It talks about Italian life in the 1940s, which is kind of interesting given, you know, that Borgo Rizzo comes from that same period. And then it talks about the various Allied forces that came and invaded Sicily at that time. Of course, the British and the Americans are heavily featured, and then some other of the Allies as well are featured. But of course, it's, you know, American tourists love that because that's part of our history as well as yours. And
by the way, I heard in a documentary last night that when the American allies landed in Normandy, the secret word was Omaha, because a soldier was asked, "Where do you come from?" He said, "I'm from Omaha," and they gave that name to the. Do you know that?
Yes, Operation Omaha. Yeah.
So I was quite impressed. Come? No, praticamente che praticamente usarono la parola Omaha là allo sbarco in Normandia, perché il capitano chiese al soldato: "Da dove viene?" "Da Omaha." E quindi
Or Omaha Beach. The code name was Omaha Beach. Yeah.
Omaha Beach non esiste. Omaha Mountain.
Anyway, so we have lots of things. Unfortunately, I have to leave in 5 minutes. Il Museo dello Sbarco.
Ah, te ne devo... Sì, mio figlio c'è stato tante volte. Ha detto: "Mamma, vado a vedere, che bello." Sì, ma io non l'ho mai visto. Quindi tutte cose da giro. Sta bene. I benedettini di notte, tutte cose.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that Museo del Sparco to come up so I could share the images, but my computer seems a little slow today.
Eleanora non c'è stasera?
Well, she said she's coming.
Sta venendo.
So, okay, I got some photos of the inside from Google. So I'll share these with you. This one here is showing some of the gunnery, and
Ecco.
but this one I thought was really interesting because it was showing like a Casa Comunale and like a Italian city scene, which I thought was interesting.
Credere, obbedire e combattere.
Time.
Il nostro fascismo. Ma
And they had American and British uniforms, and they had Nazi uniforms, and outside they have some equipment, some cannons. And then they had these little vignettes of the peace agreement. And it's in a building complex called the Chimneys or Chimney,
Chiminiera.
the Chimneys in English.
il camino.
Here's an indoor gunnery, and one of the this gives you an idea. There's a lot of rooms like this with, of course, displays associated with the war, and lots of cool maps. I love maps, and showing, you know, the British coming in here south of Syracuse, and the Americans coming in over here by Gela and Agrigento. And a radio room. And Uniforme Tedeschi, that's German uniforms. And here's another little vignette they had. Museo, the sign outside. And pictures of, you know, the cemetery. There's a big Allied cemetery out by the Catania airport, and you can see Mount Etna in the background.
Cimitero inglese.
And this is another one of the village scenes. There was one where it was like an air raid shelter, and you had all this noise and the bombing going on, and I'm surprised there's no pictures. I have pictures. I should show my own pictures, I guess. But that was a very interesting museum. The tour buses were coming in and out of there like crazy. And I think, you know, doing a museum of everyday life and occupations over at Borgo Rizzo, it'd be perfect for tour buses to get in and out. And
it should be done with the colleagues who teach history mainly. I'm thinking of my history teacher colleagues who could take there the students and see how all these things are connected with our territory.
Yes.
I just have the memories of my father when when the English soldier at the camp in Augusta, where now there is the hospital in Augusta. There was an English camp. My father told me that as my grandmother had so produced bread, he went there to send bread to the English soldiers in exchange for cigarettes, chocolate, blankets. People in Carlentini made their coat with the blankets because everything was destroyed after the Second World War. The people did not have money to buy anything. So, and the soldiers couldn't bring back their blankets, so they sold those blankets. So I have lots of memories. My father was 18 at the time, so he was not old enough to become a soldier, like my grandfather and the others who even went to fight in Russia.
Mio padre mi ha raccontato che lui non ha fatto il militare perché era nato nel 1925, quindi la leva la doveva fare nel 45 quando è finita la guerra.
25.
Sì.
1925, the same date of birth of my father.
E quindi nel 1925 anche tuo padre era nato nel 25?
Yes, 1925.
Can you translate what Silvana said for us, Nuccia? Nuccia,
sorry.
can you translate?
Oh, I can translate what Silvana said. Yes, she said that her father was born in 1925, the same year when my father was born. So they were the same age, and they were not old enough for being to apply for the. So they were excluded just in time for age limit.
Nel 45. E ti volevo dire che mio padre ha fatto sempre, faceva il carrettiere quando era giovane, e allora passò da un campo di concentramento che c'era vicino a Augusta, perché avevano preso i soldati italiani che avevano messo quel campo di concentramento. E c'era un carlentinese, visto passare mio papà, gli ha detto, ma che fanno, prendi di notte Carlentini? E mio padre l'ha preso. Sai chi era questo qua? Era il papà di Franco Inserra, dentista.
Franco Inserra, dentista,
Sì,
the dentist.
Sì, suo papà era prigioniero e mio papà l'ha preso nel carretto, via, l'ha fatto fuggire.
I translate up to there. Silvana said that her father saved a prisoner from a camp in Augusta and brought him back on his cart to Carlentini. And that was the father of our dentist. I think it's your dentist as well. Franco is my dentist. so we have discovered. We have discovered that both our fathers.
I'm confused. Was that a Italian soldier that she brought back to Carlentini?
Yes. Yes. An Italian soldier who was taken prisoner in Augusta.
Prigioniero dei tedeschi era.
Era
in una fase, non lo so, o dei tedeschi degli inglesi, non te lo so dire, comunque era in questo campo.
I mean, it was a very confusing period because the Germans were supposed to be our allies, but as we sympathized with English and Americans, it was a very confusing time, and everybody wanted to get home somehow and some way. So we have discovered with the Silvana that both our fathers were born in 1925, that they were lucky because for the age limit, they did not apply to be part of the army, of the fascist army. And they contributed to, in a sense, not real partisans, but they contributed and make trades with English and Americans. English, because we had the English soldiers here. The Americans were on the other side of Sicily. So with English soldiers, think of the fact that my father even remember the numbers, some English words, and he was very proud of that. And he always said, my daughter has never taught me any word in English. What I know is what I remember when I was a young boy at 18 and had this experience. There was a time when he came to my classes to give this sort of witness for local history, when I had, as usual, my and he was very happy to tell this story and what he did and what he's forced to do when he was their age. So for him, coming to school, coming to the liceo and tell these stories was a great, and there was a year when I had the opportunity to have even an Italian-American man who had worked in New York, I suppose, and then he retired. It was about the age of my father. So I would say an immigrant with and he had played in a band. He had made a great experience in America, and he talked in an enthusiastic way about his young life there. So there was this sort of contrast. So the same age, different experiences, because I had a mother tongue teacher who was born in, I can't remember exactly where in America, but I took the opportunity to have my students practice some English, working with the experience of the people during the 50s and the 60s. And so we had this sort of comparison.
Mm-hmm. Are any
No,
of
we
those
do not have
stories
just
written down that you
but-
know of?
Cosa
Or
ha detto?
anyway?
Excuse me, Nick, can you repeat?
Are any of those stories, like the story of your father or the Italian-American man, written down?
I should have some photographs somewhere, because when they came into the classroom, I took some photographs and little videos. I have to check. I have to check back, because my students, because he brought with some he brought some pictures with him, analogical pictures, not projectors. So it just showed some of photographs of his, and we made some photographs, and probably a little video. I should check, but it's something I'm talking about 10 years ago. So I have to check in my computer. But if I make a research, as I found my thesis in 1983, I could even found that one. There's always been a connection.
Well, since
Ciao,
you
Roberto.
brought that up, let
Ciao.
me show
Ciao.
everybody what we're talking about.
Non l'ha visto. Nick, ciao.
So let me see here.
Facendo il museo dello sbarco di Catania.
So here we are. Okay, so Nuccia sent me these images of her thesis, and so I got a message from Eleanora and Sherry that they're coming, but that's been quite some while now, so I don't know what the story is. But so this is the cover image of Nuccia's thesis that she wrote in the 1980s. And loosely, my translation is Problems of Immigration, of Italian Immigration in America. And
That's good.
And this is when Nuccia was at the University of Catania. And then she also sent me a picture of the table of contents. And do you want to translate for us, Nuccia?
I can try. So, immigration in historiography, from Anglo-conformity to ethnicity, general issues, the recent studies on the Italian ethnic group, and then second chapter, the Italian migration experience in International Migration Review, introduction, religious acculturation, Italian immigrants and the labor movement in the United States and in Argentina, the colonial press, the Italian American and the fascism, the Italian community of Toronto. And that's the second chapter. There are other 3 chapters in the and the other Chapter 3, the Center for Migration Studies and the International Migration Review. Introduction, Puerto Ricans and
Social mobility. Yeah, social mobility.
Social mobility. The Mexican and illegal immigration. And then in the 4th chapter, which is my favorite, linguistic behavior, the special issues of 1971, and there's an introduction and an analysis of the American Italian speech. And that's all. 167 pages. Written with a typewriter, no internet, nothing. At the time I attended the library in Catania. That's my thesis, è la mia tesi di laurea.
La puoi tradurre in inglese?
La mia tesi di laurea.
So, Jim has asked a question about your father's and grandfather's name. I am going to share my screen again because I believe I have some of that. Let's see here.
Silvana, ma te l'hanno detto che stanno facendo un film in America su una eroina siciliana che si chiamava Peruccello? Luis Peruccello,
No.
che poi sarebbe Lucia, che è parente di una di... Praticamente questo è qua durante il periodo in cui non si poteva commerciare l'alcol, il proibizionismo. Lei fu una delle eroine di questa, cioè un'avventuriera, diciamo, no? Che riusciva a vendere l'alcol, insomma, riusciva a tenere nelle mani sue questo giro. E stanno facendo una serie TV su questa signora. Te lo devi fare spiegare, ora che ti dico che io l'ho visto.
Ma chi te l'ha detto?
Io l'ho visto su Facebook, perché l'hanno scritto loro nel gruppo di Memory. E poi c'è una persona, aspetta ti dico chi è, che mi ha scritto,
e mandami il link.
parlandomi di questa cosa, che è una parente, cioè una discendente di questi Peruccelli. Ora ti dico chi è.
Mandami il link, perché sono venuti dei miei parenti, cioè lontani parenti, Peruccello, a trovarmi nel 2019.
Sarebbe interessante
che...
conoscere la storia veramente.
Nuccia, can you translate for me? What were you guys talking about?
Silvana told me that they are doing a television series on a woman during the a certain Lucia Piruccello, that Lucy Piruccello.
No, quelli Lucia li chiamano
Luis, anyway, that they who had a special role during the prohibition.
Kim Matteo, mi pare che è quella che è la parente.
When you have the link, you can send it to me so that we can make a little research.
Okay, so Jim, in answer to your question, Nuccia was born in Carlentini, and it looks like most of her ancestors were also born in Carlentini.
And let's see. I think I got most of them.
Yeah, I think you do.
In fact, I've got stuff for her mother's side or grandmother, paternal grandmother, Salvatore Spasso.
Yeah, I just hadn't pursued it any further, but I would imagine you would have all of that in your tree. Yeah,
a lot of it.
So, okay, Nuccia, anything else you want to say before you have to go?
I want to make a screenshot of my genealogical tree so that I can I make a screenshot so that I can provide the other information?
Send it to you. It'll be easier.
Okay, if you can send it to me, because some of the information were not provided, so I have to check and see how I can complete it.
Okay, you should have it in your Facebook Messenger.
All right, thank you. In fact, I have to go now because I've got hard work tomorrow and my family is waiting waiting for me for dinner.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank
today.
you.
We really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much. And I hope to be more relaxed and stay more during the other meetings.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
See you. Bye.
Devi
Bye bye.
andare,
See you next
Silvana?
Tuesday.
Ciao, allora me ne vado anch'io perché qua non ci capisco niente.
Ho esami all'alba domani, alle 7:30 a
Lo
scuola,
so.
perché prova
Anche a
scritta,
scuola
insomma,
mia
è
ci
un
sono
problema.
esami.
E poi
Io
sempre
in questo
questa per
periodo.
me è l'ora di cena, quindi
Ah sì?
dobbiamo ancora cenare. E domani, insomma,
Io ho
e
cenato
poi ci vuole
prima perché...
tempo di digerire. Ok,
Va
ok,
bene.
I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye bye. Thank
All
you.
right, thank
Bye.
you.
Ciao
Bye.
Silvana.
Bye.
Io aspetto un po', se viene Eleonora bene, se no mi ritiro anch'io.
So, yeah, I don't know. You guys need to start messaging Eleanora and tell her how much we miss her, because apparently they're busy. Oh, there she is.
Yes.
Speak of the cute little girl herself.
Ciao, dove sei? Ti vedo.
Sono qua, scusate, I was working for you.
Well, you
Make
missed
problem.
a wonderful presentation by Nuccia.
Scusa
And
Silvana
I'm
Veroccello,
gonna-
almeno ho capito qualcosa.
Since you weren't here when she was talking, I'll put this in the chat log so you can see what she was talking about.
Oh, with pleasure.
And I found it fascinating. I am trying to promote this idea of expanding the Museum of Ancient Trades and Mysteries into Borgo Rizzo. And she kind of liked the idea from what I could gather. So I really think that, you know, it would be a perfect place to get tour buses in and out. And
Yeah, we have worked on it in the last year, actually. The projects of Borgo Rizzo is the main project that we have in the association. And with the mayor himself, we have done weekly Zoom meeting with the architects. So we are developing a project. So when the project will be 100% approved, obviously we will involve all the people around the association. But so far,
she said something about a meeting on June 30th with the mayor. Do you know anything about that?
30th? No.
Well, sounds like maybe you two should talk. But
Sorry, I'm having dinner in the meanwhile.
that's all right. That's all right. So, and Silvana was telling us about, oh, well, I spoke a little bit about when I was in Catania at the Museo del Sparco, which is
Dello Sbarco.
about the Allied invasion of Sicily. And that is a magnificent tourist attraction. And I think
The Museum of the Allies.
I would like to see Borgo Rizzo become something like the Museo del Sparco in terms of being a
I have a book. I'm
must
coming.
see on the tourist itineraries. So anyway, so since she stepped away, let me just go back to some of the things that I was talking about earlier. We were talking about the boys in the hood, and it's identified. And I think, Fred, you said something about Voselka is like a Polish name?
Like a Czech name.
Czech, okay.
What a beautiful picture.
That's
Yeah,
up at, or that's up, hanging at Orsi's, I think. I've seen that. I've not.
Yeah, because Jenny O'Leary said it was hanging in Marinos. And
That's long gone now.
okay. Well, maybe it is at Orsi's at this point.
Yeah, that's where I remember seeing it.
I think Horsey picked up some stuff that was over at Marino's, including some business of doing some imports that Marino's was doing. This was like 10 years ago when Marino's closed. I don't know if they're still doing that, but that's what was happening when when they closed Marino's.
Speaking of pictures, Lo Solo Mio, the restaurant that's supposed to get a lot of good pictures. I don't know what they're gonna do with them tonight. Did they auction them or not?
Dean, you need to get closer to your microphone, man, because I cannot hear a word you are saying.
You hear me now?
That's better.
The restaurant that is closing Lo Solo Mio, I don't know if they're gonna auction any of those pictures. They have some nice pictures.
There's a restaurant in town, Lo Solo Mio.
Yeah, Lo Sole Mio that is
It's
closing.
closing. And Dean was saying that maybe they'll auction off some of the photos in that restaurant.
Oh, that would be good.
I think they closed July 1st or around there.
July 2nd.
Not, a picture.
And I know Jenny still has a lot of these photos. I don't know if she has this particular one or not, but I know she's got a lot of that stuff still.
One, the Italians of America, great big picture of the artist painting of the famous Italian.
Quando
So
ho visto
another
Eleanora,
family that I've been working on lately is the Catanias. And I'm trying to remember which person is associated with the Catanias. Oh, it's through Frida. Oh, it's the Gatas. It's Patty Lean, who's been on our meeting recently. But the Gatas are related to the Catania. Joe Gata's mother was Frida Catania. And so trying to figure out who these people are. So Dean, I could use your help on this one because Francesco Catania was married to this woman named Josephine Lombarda, but I think they were actually married. If you look at Frank's profile, he was born in Lentini. His World War II card gives his date of birth, but I did find his birth record. His father was Giuseppe and his mother was Philadelphia Trullo, and they
io
lived.
penso, allora, Nick, non penso che sia Trullo, ma Irullo, con la I.
Should be Irullo. It's true because I have friends called Irullo. Silvana, she's
Irullo
right.
di Lentini,
Mhm.
non Trullo, Philadelphia Trullo, Irullo.
Irullo.
Like that with an I?
Yes,
Yes,
I-R-U.
sì. C'è il marito di una mia amica che si chiamava Irullo.
Thank you for that
Di Lentini.
correction, Silvana. That's very
Yeah.
helpful.
Grazie Silvana, questa cosa è molto molto utile.
Mi fa piacere.
I like to do that.
So I've been using this life story function on Ancestry, and I've been when you put images in the gallery, like this 1912 passenger list, I did. So this is the arrival record, and it's dated the 24th of May, 1912. And then there's also.
Nika, send to you something. That's we will talk about that later. I don't want to interrupt you.
And then there's also the departure record, which is the 7th of May, 1912.
Ah, quella di prima era una lista passeggeri di. I'm sorry, can you go back 1 second?
Sure.
Arrival and the departure. What's
Yeah.
the difference?
So yeah, there's 2 pages to these lists. The first page is the departure, which includes the surnames.
Allora, queste sono le partenze, invece quello di prima erano gli arrivi.
Valiant passengers.
The next,
Alieni.
Yeah, we are
next one is
aliens.
the arrival.
Sì.
So they left on the 7th and they arrived on the 24th, according to this. So I need to
And it's when they arrived in New York.
right.
Mi
Quindi
piacerebbe sapere,
dal 7 al 24 ci mettevano. Quindi 7,
mi
8, 9,
piacerebbe
10,
sapere se dal 7 al 24,
He
no,
arrived on
11,
the 24th.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
But
20,
17, 18, 19, 20,
It's a
21, 22, 23, 24.
continuation
17 giorni.
from the previous line. So like Francesco Catania is on line 4 here.
mhm.
And you can
Maddalena
see
Carambella,
his
Catania,
details that he was
Petrarca,
last resided in Lentini. And his mother was Irulo Philadelphia of Lentini.
Irullo, visto? È giusto, Irullo.
Brava Silvana, è giusto, il rullo.
And he was headed to Brooklyn. So the first 15 or 20 years of his life was in Brooklyn and New Jersey. And then he went to Omaha. So, so that's reflected on his life story timeline with these images. And I put an image of his birth and then his departure on the 7th of May, 1912. And then his arrival on the 24th of May, 1912. And added descriptive information.
San Giorgio era la nave?
And then
St. George was the
he's in New
boat.
Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Hmm.
And it's kind of hard to see this image, but here he is, Francesco Catania, his wife, Giuseppina Catania, his daughter, Delfina Catania. And then there's a Francesco, it says Odio, but I think it's Odo.
Oddo dovrebbe essere.
Vediamo.
Allarga, allarga.
If you go back up to the
Should be Oddo, that's true,
Yeah.
but there is a little I as well. So Odio,
Non
I think it's a,
esiste.
no, it doesn't
Lentini.
exist. It's exactly, it's Oddo, Oddo.
Oddo.
That's the same family name of Francesco, Francesco, no, forget it, just kidding.
Il marito di
But,
Marinella
this-
Castiglia si chiamava Oddo.
on
quello che è
the
morto, ti
arrival
ricordi?
record, on the
Il
arrival
dottore
page,
Oddo.
Esatto.
it talks about, it looked to me like the word grandfather or godfather, perhaps, at
Qua c'è scritto Oddo,
479
Francesco.
Columbia Street, Brooklyn, New York. And if we go to the actual image in the gallery, we can see it a little bit better. I think it would be on this one. I need to change that to the 24th. But if you go and you look at this, which I think we can zoom in just a little bit on this, it clearly looks like there's something father, and it looks like a G to me.
Like God.
Maybe it's Godfather. But when you look at the actual 1915 census, this Francesco Odo is the same age as Francesco Catania. So
Yes,
that's
God is Godfather. Sì, il
Il
padrino.
padrino.
Il padrino.
but
Padrino.
maybe. Anyway, so that's one of my mysteries. Or Patty Lean's mystery. So that's my show and tell for the day. What else do people have to show and tell?
Mm.
I got a good one. I've been working on a neighbor friend of mine. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Find which tab it's on here. Hold on.
Nick,
Eleonora.
Giblisco, what are the main difficulties in terms of the process, getting the papers, talking with the embassy, getting the right person according to your experience?
Numero uno is getting an appointment at the consulate. That is by far the hardest part, especially now. When I was going through it, I got probably 10 or 12 different appointments that I couldn't use because I wasn't ready yet. But
Gli ho chiesto, Silvana, qual è secondo lui in base
and when-
all'esperienza?
Don't you need to get ready before you schedule an appointment then?
no, see, I was just picking up appointments in anticipation I would be ready. And then the day would come and I'd just cancel it before my appointment or trade it off to someone that needed it, type deal. But
Ho chiesto
now,
quali sono le difficoltà maggiori per chi da americano vuole ottenere la doppia cittadinanza italiana. Ho detto sicuramente difficoltà numero uno è quello di ottenere l'appuntamento al consolato, perché è proprio difficile. E poi certe volte ti spostano gli appuntamenti, per cui quando arriva il momento in cui tu ci devi andare, magari non hai ancora tutti i documenti pronti. I see. And how long does it take to get the next appointment?
Eleanora, ho
right
notato
now-
una cosa stupida. Quando loro dicono amico mio, dicono friend of mine, no?
Sì,
E i catanesi come dicono? L'amico da me.
l'amico da
Identico.
me.
È
Sì,
identico, proprio.
sì, è una formula dell'aggettivo
formula.
passivo. Tu puoi dire
Sì.
my friend oppure a friend of mine.
A Catania dicono amico da me.
Even in Catania they use the same formula, a friend of mine.
a friend of mine. Yep.
Amico da me.
Amico da me, yeah.
Yeah, so the consulate will release, this is the Chicago one I'm talking about. It'll release,
With the little head.
yeah, little. They'll release 3 appointments Sunday through Thursday at midnight Rome time. And everybody and their mothers are trying to grab those appointments. And it's whether or not you can type the password in fast enough to get it. So it's become very difficult because I think there's a bunch of agencies that are snagging them up and selling them, which is illegal to do in the first place. But I think that's what happens.
Like in the pharmacy.
Right.
Ci
So
sono persone che vendono il bigliettino che tu poi hai quando arrivi in ambasciata. In base all'ordine di arrivo hai il numero, no?
Ho capito.
E c'è gente che se li vende sotto banca. Ho detto mizzica, come da noi in farmacia. O la posta.
I'm working with my
Esatto.
neighbor.
Mizzica, non si sfinisce mai di imparare, è assurdo. Noi pensiamo che siamo noi quelli strani, invece no.
Ma uguale in tutto il mondo.
No, tutto il mondo è paese. All the world is the same country. It's true.
All right.
Roberto Palladino.
So this is my friend. He lives right around the corner from me, right across the street from the Virgilitos. And he's looking into his son here, who is just 2011, has already expressed some interest to go study college in Europe somewhere. So we thought we would get together and start building his tree and seeing if he qualified and all of that good stuff. So I started building and going, and here's his dad. He's born
I
here.
have a friend of, I know a person, Palladino, but in Marsala, on the really extremely west coast of Sicily. It's not typical of Carlentini or the east coast of this name.
No,
Allora, il marito
they're from
di Antonella Ilardo si chiama Palladino.
E da dove viene?
Della provincia di Palermo, sì, verso Palermo.
Palermo, Trapani, Palermo, yeah.
Sì.
So they're from Altomonte, Italy.
Altomonte,
Altomonte,
yes,
sì.
it's close to Palermo, yes.
Yep. So here's his ancestor, Frank Francesco Palladino. That was born in Altamonte and
Cosenza.
died in Omaha, right?
Altomonte in
So-
Cosenza, no.
The story.
That's another branch. It's not the Sicily. It's Calabria.
Oh yeah, this is Cosenza.
You see, it's
Yeah.
fine.
So the story is, if you look up here a little further,
Sì, in provincia di Cosenza, Altomonte.
his mother is a Palladino, his father is a big question mark. So the story is that his mother had two child with some quote unquote Italian royalty who we've
No.
heard is his name is Francesco, is his father's name. So he actually took the mother, I found the mother's birth certificate in Altamonte and her name is Serafina Palladino. So the children took Vincenzo and Francesco took the mother's name.
Mhm.
And I go to look in 1884 for on Antonati to find his birth record, and that is one of the only years that is non-consultable. So it's just got the cover of 1884. It's got the book there, but it does not have, you can't search it. So,
Quando non erano sposati, i figli avevano il nome della mamma. Può darsi che non erano sposati con questo signore Francesco.
Silvana, she's adding a
they-
detail. Sorry. Silvana, she's saying that when they weren't married, the kids, they used to take the name of the mother. So maybe the mother knew exactly who was the father, but they weren't married officially.
I'm hoping so. Yeah.
Why?
Because I've sent an email to Altamonte, the Comune, and I'm requesting their birth certificate, and the birth certificate I'm hoping has both names on it, because to match up the guy that died in Omaha, to match him up with the guy that was born in Italy, I have to have the parents' names correct. So it all has to match up. So I'm hoping that they have the father's name on there, and I'll be able to determine it that way.
Aveva dei figli in Italia che avevano il suo cognome, invece quelli in America hanno il cognome della mamma. Capito
No.
male?
No, lui praticamente ha mandato un'email al comune di Cosenza chiedendo il certificato di nascita di questi nati lì a Cosenza. Ora, se spunta che questo padre c'è, nome e cognome, sarà più facile trovare poi il corrispettivo in America. I didn't get why, if they are not married, it's better.
It doesn't matter if they're married. I just needed to have the father's name on his birth
Ok, non
certificate.
importa se erano sposati o meno, lui vorrebbe avere il nome del padre.
Certo, ovviamente.
Perché solo così può arrivare a tutto il ramo degli altri cugini, eccetera, che avranno il cognome paterno, giustamente. Of course.
So you said the year,
Bisogna scoprire perché questi hanno il cognome della mamma.
Yeah, you have to figure out why they have the mother's name.
in my experience, first of all, you got to check all of the different sites to see. You got to check Portali Antonati and Family Search, and sometimes even Ancestry. But in addition, write a letter to the Archivio di Stato di Cosenza, or an email. They should have an email address on the Portali Antonati. They have pages for each of the regional or the provincial archives,
Yeah.
and they usually have a contact email for those archives as well.
Okay.
I would recommend that you write them and explain what you found and where you found it, and that there was not an actual birth record for that particular year.
Sure.
And do they have a copy of the birth record?
Comunque,
Because
se avete bisogno di qualcuno che telefoni per parlare, me lo potete dire poi eventualmente se avete bisogno. Perché parlando forse, ti ricordi quando ho telefonato lì ad Acquato del Pronto, che poi mi hanno risposto, insomma.
what is she saying?
Sorry, Silvana, I wanted to take a book because I think it's a good connection for Nick. Can you repeat it again?
Ah, ho detto, se nel caso che abbiano bisogno di qualcuno che parli, che telefoni per parlare in italiano di questa cosa, io sono disponibile.
Okay, Silvana, she's
Non
saying
deve
if you
essere-
need someone who speaks in Italian to call them, she's available.
Awesome. Grazie, Silvana.
Ok, fammi sapere, se non ti risponde nessuno, proviamo col telefono, vediamo.
Let's go. You know the date of when this guy died in Omaha?
Frank?
Francesco, 1863 to 1861.
16 May 1948.
Oh, the other one, his father.
This one?
Yeah.
These are just, I have no idea if these are accurate. I mean, if this is accurate, he lived till he's 98 years old, which would be kind of rare. So I have not verified this information. I linked this from someone else's family tree, and it said Francesco Fuscaldo Palladino, but I know the dad's name wasn't Palladino. I think they were just trying to, so I was going to go through and try to verify. I looked for Francesco Fuscaldo in 1863 in Altamonte, and I couldn't find it, but there's a million Francescos that were born that year. So
Fuscaldo was the last name?
that's still to be determined.
So, Nick, if you would like, I can show you how to get to the contact information, and it might be useful to others as well.
Yeah.
For the other.
Just real quick here, I was able, so this was the last known person they had in their family who came over here, and she died in 1925 in Omaha.
Mhm.
And they have a nice little family book, and it says Serafina is the oldest known Palladino. And then so last night I was doing my research, and I've taken them all the way back to, I mean, these people who were probably born in the 1780s. This is like their 8th great grandfather.
Mm.
I was able to get them with just the Antonati records.
Wow.
And then he's from both the Palladino and the Filomena. This was another kind of unique story. So Filomena, she was born in August of 1892 in Nebraska, which is kind of a little unique for Italians. Most of them are born around that time or still in Carlentini.
Yeah.
But she was born in Nebraska. So I knew that Nebraska doesn't have civil records for pre-1904, I think, for birth. So I sent St. Francis Cabrini an email, and Raydell was able to find her baptism certificate and marriage certificate within like an hour. And so we're going to go down there and pick up that, because the consulate will accept a certified baptism certificate in lieu of a pre-civil record, where the state doesn't record births before then. So we were able to find that for Filomena, who was born in 1892 in Omaha.
Okay, while we're talking, Nick Gibilisco, I wrote a message to the author of this book, Tiziana Nicotera. She works at the University of Calabria, and this book, it has been approved by the Minister of Italy, and it talks about the tourism of roots, the importance of the turismo delle radici. And she's in contact with all of those researchers, so hoping that she can find out a way to contact someone in Cosenza as well.
Yeah.
And even a local guide who is a friend of mine, who lives in Calabria, but very close to Cosenza. She's not exactly from there. I think that the best way is to go through connections, because even if we send the official emails, even in our experience, we saw that when we get in touch for real with the Rino and the Lucy Latina, they started answering us finally.
Right. Yeah, the emails
So
don't work.
if we will find one name and we can write them directly, I think it will be better. Let's see. Here we are, to use our connections in the best way. I have 2 in Calabria, so who knows?
That's great.
So this was I'm going to do a little plug here for Douglas County Historical Society. So I asked them real quick for records pertaining to Francesco Palladino's naturalization, and she was able to find the Declaration of
I'd love
Intention.
to have this picture entire, because I can see it little pieces.
Yeah, this is his intention that he made in 1918, and here's his petition, and it lists all the kids' names. So this is kind of a document that says any kid that is listed on here, any descendant of these children, all qualified because they were already born before he finished the process. So this is kind of but on this one, which was kind of unique, so he naturalized, you get the oath of allegiance right here.
Mhm.
This is the key document when searching for this stuff, because at the bottom of the oath will be the certificate of naturalization number 1360648. So this is the number that you're going to type into the USCIS sites to order the naturalization packet for that individual. As long as you have this, they can find it, even though it still takes a year to get it. But one thing they did have, which was kind of unique, was this is considered his naturalization certificate record. It was kind of an earlier one in 1920. So, but it gives his certificate number up here, age. And
Ivana, state seguendo?
So is the Douglas County Historical Society, are they capable of issuing that as a document that could then be certified in some way?
so what they do for me is they provide a notarized letter that says we are in possession of the exact originals of these documents. Pat Campagna, we submitted a picture of he had the original naturalization certificate of his great-grandfather. Well, they came back and they said, we want, the consulate came back and said, we want the declaration and intention that go with it to prove that it's the same guy. So typically you would have to order that from USCIS and it would take a year. But I got Douglas County Historical Society to issue me their scans and their printouts are second to none. They're better than what we can do on our own personal stuff. So they sent me hard copies of this, and then with a notarized letter saying we are in possession of the original petition of naturalization and declaration of intention, and these photocopies are exact copies of that. And so that's what they did, and the consulate accepted that. Now, would they accept this naturalization certificate? I doubt it, because it's, even though they have this kind of record, he also has a certificate that you're more traditionally seen with the, the picture or the outline. But this would have been an alternate version, I guess, is one way to put it. And these are the actual documents that, that's his signature right there. It's the actual document that he signed.
So what, Frank Carl, so it was Francesco Carlo?
Yeah, so if you look, he did a kind of a neat thing here. on his document, you can see right here, it says, and that my name be changed to Frank Carl Palladino, even though he listed up here as Francesco Carl Palladino, known as. So he kind of did his own name change during the naturalization process. And that's a really cool thing to do, because I think that the consulates would accept this as an official name change right here. So yeah, I've seen that
That's
a couple
good
other
to know,
times.
That's good to know, Nick, because that's Steve's grandfather's the same way. He did the same thing.
Yeah, if they did it here, that I think that's considered like your official documentation for that name change.
Good, good, thanks.
Yeah.
But I did have to go get it from that site you referenced.
Yeah, usually you gotta. Did you get it in the mail yet?
Yes, we did get it. I think so. I have to look for sure. Like I said, it came while I was in the middle of other things, so, but I'm pretty sure I got it.
Sure.
Or something. We got
Really cool,
something
Nick.
from that site.
Yeah, we have. I had her look for the Asta and Cavalieri. I don't know if you want that, Nick. The Asta and Cavalieri naturalization documents that I looked up for PJ.
Sure, I'd take them.
And we could add them. I think I have them right here.
Yeah, if you could send them to me, that would be great. So let me just show you the Antonati since we're,
Yeah, let's see it.
okay, so the main screen is this, the Ancestors portal. But then there's this little button here at the top that says Browse the Archives. I have this in English. You can change it to Italian, and the original Italian will be Esplora gli archivi. Or if you want to change it back to English to make it easier on yourself.
Speaking of Antonati, is
Browse the archives. So then you click on Browse the Archives, and you can use this little map, or you can scroll down a little further. And you were talking about Cosenza.
Right.
So this will take you to the landing page for the State Archives of Cosenza. And there's a link to their website, but the one that I like to use is this one that says contacts. Oh, I didn't want to do that. So if you right click, you can copy the email address.
Okay.
And then you can put it in an email.
And you can request. You think I can request those estrados through them?
You can, yes.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I've never done that. That's
No,
interesting.
me neither. Thanks, Nick. 'Cause
Yeah,
I got back at this.
if you fail with the communes, you can go to the State Archives.
How
Awesome.
do you find the commune? How did you find the commune contact?
Usually I just Google it.
Yeah, you can Google that.
You know,
Okay.
sometimes like Vinciaturo, you gotta spell it right. And then just put anagrafe, or you can put stato civile. And usually that's enough to get you to it. And so here's a little contact here with the phone number. But this one here that says telefono e posta elettronica.
Bravo!
So that's email, basically what that means.
Wait, where was that? Show me that again.
Sheila, I shared in the link that I posted today for the
It's this
Zoom
one
of
right
tonight,
here.
There.
the picture with the Minchiaturo.
See, it
The
says
t-shirt.
Community di Vinciaturo.
Okay,
And,
got it.
it looks like they have a variety of different offices. but the Ufficio Demografici e Stato Civile is the one you want. This is PEC. Nick has talked about this quite a bit. He has a PEC address, but you have to have PEC in order to email via PEC. And I don't have one of those, so I just use the regular email, the commune@commune. So it sounds like they just use one general mailbox for all of their inquiries, because the communal secretary is also at that same email address, as is the Area Technica and the finance office and the administrative office. So it's just this one email, comune@commune.
Okay. Well, we'll see how good my memory is when I go to do this.
Well, can you copy and paste from the chat log? Or
Sure.
can you download the chat log? I'll just put it in the chat log.
Sure. Great, thanks.
Nick, it looked like on the Antinati site that they had a place where you could request military records, or 'cause what I want is, I saw in a couple sessions back that someone had a passport for their relative and it had a picture on it. And so I have a relative that was issued a passport and I would love to get a copy of it. Is there a certain place I should contact for that? Has anyone had any?
It might be more of an Eleanora and Silvana question as to which offices actually issue passports.
Ufficio anagrafe. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. It's the police of the state. So when we have to make the passport, we go to the police station, and then there is an office. It's not in all of them. There is the main one. Silvana, forse tu sei più.
Io non ce l'ho il passaporto, figurati. Mio figlio però è in polizietta, è vero.
In polizia, non in tutte le stazioni di polizia, ma nella più importante, in quella dove there is a
Lentini. Lentini.
For example, between Lentini and Carlentini, there is just one police station that is in Lentini, actually close to the ancient mill Ferrauto. Maybe some of you is familiar with that place, not far from let's say the beginning of the. Nick, do you remember when we were driving together, walking down the road with my car, when we left the cemetery, and at one point there was a crossroad, and then I said, you see, on the right hand side is Carlentini, on the left hand side is Lentini. So there was welcome in Carlentini and arrivederci from Lentini in the same square. Well, close to that place, there is the police station that gives the passport, because they have the office for that with the special machines. It takes 40 days to get an Italian passport, and it costs.
Mine was 125 bucks.
I'm in Monte Carlo tonight. I hate it. In my city, my goodness, they're so annoying. So actually, when I made the passport, it needed to be renovated every 10 years, but now it's no more like before. Now we make it once, and then every 10 years they put just another stamp to renovate it, and that's it. So we don't have to pay again 100 euros.
Oh wow, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, we pay a lot, and we have to make pictures, obviously the right size, and they cost more, around 20 euros, and we have to wait for 40 days.
Really?
Okay, so Mary Kay, in answer to your question, also there is a service on Family Search called the Wiki.
Okay.
And so like you go to the main Family Search menu, and under search, you go down to research Wiki, and then it'll take you to a search page, and you just put in whatever your keywords are. I put Italian passports, And there is apparently an article on Italy passport records.
Okay.
So I haven't read this article, so rather than try to read it to you, I would just recommend that you look at this. I'll put this in the chat log.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Nick, can you bring up Mr. Asta's family tree?
Sure. Let me
Ah,
give me a second while I
PJ.
put this in the chat log for Mary Kay.
Yep.
Thank you, Antonati. The first record only goes to the mid 1890s.
Okay, so you want to bring up Mr. Asta's tree, you said?
Yep.
Okay, so there's Nuccia, tree search.
So he had me looking into his Italian citizenship, PJ did.
Asta.
And he had the unique circumstance of having both parents born in Italy, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. His dad was born in Gibellina and his mom was born in Carlentini, which you corrected. Thank you very much.
yeah, it's good. I thought he had a
Concettina
loophole.
Cavaleri. La mia maestra,
Concettina.
Eleonora, ti dico, la mia maestra si chiamava Concettina Cavaleri, preciso come
Ah, your elementary school?
Sì, sì.
Really?
My
So,
goodness, the
for
world
some
is so
reason-
small.
For some reason, they changed the spelling from Cavalieri to Cavalieri.
Cavaleri. A Carlentini Cavaleri, senza I.
So
In Carlentini, it has always been Cavalieri without the I.
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was Lieri.
No, that's why I had the difficulties with Michael Cavalieri. At the beginning, he's Cavalieri, and I used to make a lot of mistakes.
Oh wow.
Ma qualcuno che si chiama Cavalieri, ma non a
So
Carlentini.
what I was able to find out for this guy is kind of a unique situation was Niccolo Asta and
Mhm.
Luigi Cavalieri, his grandfathers, both came over and their children were both born in Italy, and Niccolo naturalized in 19
Nicolò. E con l'accento sulla O, Nicolò.
Yes, should be with
Oh.
the accent in the last. Oh, is Niccolo.
Niccolo, gotcha.
Nicolò.
So he naturalized in 1929, and that is an issue because his son was 18 at the time, so still considered a minor. So the minor born in Italy follows the naturalization of the parent. So even though he was born in Italy, he didn't have to go through the naturalization process. The child didn't. He follows the father. And that happened the same way with Luigi Cavalieri. He naturalized when his daughter was 14. So his daughter became an American when she was 14, both minors losing their Italian citizenship. So even though he has two parents born in Italy that never went through the naturalization process, he did not qualify.
He did
that's
not
horrible.
qualify.
PJ Asta does not qualify, nor do his parents who were born in Italy are not Italian citizens, and they can reacquire if they go move there and declare residency. But the parents are passed away, obviously.
We have empty houses in Carlentini.
So if they were still alive, Nick, they would have to go through the process to get it.
Of reacquisition, which would not apply to their children.
Interesting.
So PJ would be out of luck either way if his parents were alive or deceased. His parents could reacquire, but he technically was never born to an Italian citizen. So he is only American, and so are his parents.
No way.
This is
Interesting.
kind of the same situation that like Carmelita de la Guardia is in. Like to get her Italian citizenship back, she would have to go move back to Italy for 1 year and declare residency, and then she could become a citizen again. But
Ma Carmelita è nata a Carlentini, giusto? Non ha la cittadinanza italiana?
That doesn't sound such a bad fate to me. I think PJ should just move to Italy.
he won't ever qualify.
No.
No?
No, only people that were born in Italy can reacquire.
Well, could he immigrate and become a citizen in Italy?
Yeah, 10 years of residency.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might not even live that long.
Yeah, you got to do 10 years.
Mhm.
Well,
If
unless you are retired, it could be a paradise here if you have an income.
Yeah.
Well, there you
The
go.
problem is that there is no job, but
It
if you're
just seems-
retired, no problem.
It just seems odd if Steve can qualify on his grandfather, that PJ can't on his grandfather, who came from Italy.
Yeah.
But Steve's dad was born in America, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's the difference, because the American born children they don't lose their Italian citizenship based on their parents'
Okay,
naturalization.
so let's can I just ask you about my parentage then?
Yeah,
Because remember, we think that, well, let's see if I can pull it up here.
That is very interesting, Nick. Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you for
That's true.
sharing.
So, okay, so Grandpa Dick was born in Lentini,
correct.
and he immigrated in 1911,
Correct.
at the age of 5. His father immigrated, and he didn't naturalize until 1930.
Correct. So how old was your dad?
My dad was not born yet.
Or grandpa? How old was your grandpa at that time?
My grandpa was 24 years old.
So he's an adult. He does not follow the naturalization of his father anymore.
Gotcha. Very interesting.
So, but then we think he might have naturalized. We think,
Maybe. I don't think he did. I think he married an American and he was good.
Mhm.
But more to come on that once you get a hold of the courts.
Yeah, that's right. I need to get a hold of Dakota County.
So yeah, if Antonio would have been naturalized 3 years earlier, you're out.
Mhm.
So it's just a timing thing.
Why are they so restricted and so cruel?
To
Sherry
Italian
says
born
hello
people.
to everybody. We just had a 1.5 hour meeting with Carlentini for the program, and then she said that then I have a meeting with Todd, and at 7 p.m. for the gala, and at 9 p.m. for the mural, and I'm not getting paid. I will tell her that I said officially.
Well, you can also tell her that life is full of choices and she's made hers.
Thank you. I will. Okay. The group says hi.
Well, thanks for all your help, Nick. I gotta run too because I've got commitments that conflict with this, but thank you. A lot of good info here.
Eleanora,
We'll
Yes.
just go on my to-do list.
Yes, Anne, tell me.
are you talking about the mural in Omaha?
Yes, the
Okay,
mural in Orsi's.
on RC's Bakery.
Yes, Orsi's Bakery.
Yeah, I've been in contact with them, trying to get them to represent Giuseppe Salerno, because
And
he's not on there. But they're not being so specific. They have a lot of things that symbolize people, because they said if they put some people on there, their families are going to be upset that the other families aren't represented.
Well,
even
and
though-
if it can help in this context, I know that we are recording it, but from this moment on, we have to destroy it with this recording. Otherwise, I cannot be honest. If there are traces, I'm telling you, in Sicily we are.
Okay.
You want me
This
to turn the
mural was
recording off? I
my
can turn-
idea, our idea that started more than 1 year ago, and it has to be a twin mural. A mural talking about Carlentini and Omaha together, and it has to be the same for Omaha and Carlentini. So Silvana's nephew is a great artist, and he was ready to leave Carlentini to spend a week in Omaha to make the same. And then the person who has designed the mural, Richard, in Omaha, he had to come here in Carlentini with his daughter. And all this project at one point has disappeared, and I haven't understood where it has gone, because it was completely a different project. A piece of the land from Carlentini, a stone, should be added in the wall in Omaha, and a piece of Omaha had to come over here. And the journey of this summer had to be the moment when they had to take those materials. And at one point, this is the bridge that I want to build. Something else arrived. I don't know if Orsi is paying this wall. I don't know if they won some grant. I have no idea. Hi, if somebody is leaving. I have no idea what's going on, but this is no more the original project. So this is not what we had in our mind. For me, they're decorating a wall. That's it. It would be a beautiful one. I'm very happy that they're representing something that is related to the topic of Little Italy in Omaha over there. But as Carlentini Omaha Association president, we are miles away, far from the steps that we are taking to get the two communities to get in contact and ties and get along. So
That's too bad.
Eleanora, I'm not sure what all went on behind it, but I can tell you from the meetings we were at that there are several nationalities that have walls in Omaha. And the guy that is leading a lot of these meetings has done a lot of those. So I have a feeling this is taking the path, the same as the Irish mural and the Danish mural.
Yeah, we deserve one. I understand if we haven't got one yet. So that's another project.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're following.
Yeah, they already started years ago. So I hope that one day we will be able to tell about Carlentini and Omaha, the first people who arrived. And in general, it has to be an emblem, something that has to be symbolic. Otherwise, if every one of us has to put a detail, it will be very complicated, because it will be always someone who will be cut out. So it has to be something on the top of the equals, because we are all equals. Machiavelli, who is an Italian writer, used to say we have to be princeps inter pares. That means sometimes when we needed to take a decision or make something for the good of the community, we have to step higher and think about everybody equally. But if we try to make everybody princes, we will never get out. So I'm happy, and that they're doing so much effort. And Sherry, she's one of the people who is painting, and Carmelita's daughter. Today I met on Zoom because I called them every day and Sherry calls me with videos. So I was like, guys, why you are under the sun without an umbrella? You have to cover your head, otherwise you will have a headache. And then in that moment, somebody with umbrellas showed up, and I was like, why I didn't mention about money when we talk about something, and that something shows up in Sicily, and we say, I lost a good chance to talk about money. So they are making so much effort, and they wanted that wall to be ready when we will be there. And I don't know who made the final choice about the final design, but I'm sorry if they cut out someone, and I understand that they received so many requests. The final result is beautiful so far, but I'm sure that we cannot make everybody happy, and I'm not happy with that project. That is another project. It started differently, and it has been done, okay? So it could be another piece added in our, let's say, long journey, because it's not over.
Ti volevo chiedere una cosa, puoi dire di questi signori che sono qua stasera, chi è che viene a Carlentini? C'è qualcuno di loro che viene a Carlentini per Santa Lucia?
Is asking for those who are here tonight, who is coming in Carlentini? Io lo so, però ti faccio rispondere a loro. I know who is coming, but I will let you answer. Alziamo la mano. Let's put up your hands up. Hands up. Who is coming in Carlentini?
Marianne?
Yes.
Sì, and Chris. Marianne and Chris.
When is this trip?
It's on August. Actually, there
August
are
23rd. 23rd.
August 23rd till September 2nd. This was a tour.
Allora, te l'ho chiesto per un motivo, perché ci siamo sentite con Carmelita. Perché se loro vogliono, possono partecipare ai canti che facciamo in chiesa. E Carmelita mi ha detto di sì, io ora le mando agli spartiti, però dice che non sono riusciti a trovare persone che vogliono fare questa cosa.
So, Silvana,
lo so, hanno paura forse, ma non c'è niente da aver paura.
Would you like to sing in the church with the choir for the mass on Sunday morning at 10 a.m.? You think about it and you let me know.
Okay.
You say August 23rd to September 2nd?
So I'm sorry, I
Yes.
was just completing my sentence and then Silvana was talking to me, I'm sorry. So August 23rd till September 2nd, this trip was supposed to be made in 2020. At the beginning, there were 30 people, and then because of COVID, we tried to make this tour on 2021, and again, nothing went through. And this year, finally, we went from 30 people, now we are 46. And there is another group coming with Teresa. They are 28, plus there are a lot of individuals. They don't want to be part of the tour. So if you are planning to come to Sicily, you will be more than welcome. It will be Mike Di Giacomo on his own. It will be Carmelita della Guardia, all the kids and her family, and a good section of her band coming because she will sing. It will be David Rundle as well. It will be, my goodness, I'm forgetting something. Sabi, oh my goodness. Wow.
Carmelita mi ha detto che lei deve cantare il venerdì in piazza.
Sì, Carmelita avrà proprio una serata
per lei.
Pete Sabi, I'm sorry, Pete Sabi.
Ma l'ha organizzata il sindaco questa cosa? Come l'avete organizzata?
Sì, il sindaco l'ha invitata, lei si sta esibendo gratuitamente, ovviamente. Lei è tutta la band, quindi questo è il regalo che stanno facendo loro.
Mi ha detto che le manca il bassista.
Sì,
che
il bassista.
E c'è mio nipote che suona il basso, glielo potrei dire.
Ma certo, Giacomo Garbeni. No, scusami.
No.
Fazzino. Scusami, Fazzino. Luca Fazzino. Giacomo è un chitarrista, mi sono sbagliata.
Luca suona il basso, però certo, bisognerebbe conoscere i testi.
Ancora non gliel'ho detto. Sì. Carmelita canterà venerdì sera. Il venerdì. So we have planned this tour, and little by little other people are coming, and obviously
volevo dire a chi viene a Carlentini che se vogliono imparare le canzoni di Santa Lucia basta che si rivolgono a Carmelita, perché ora io poi le mando tutti quanti i canti che facciamo.
If you're up to sing, you let me know and I will let you have the music sheets. obviously we are in the church. There is the official choir, so you don't have to stand up alone with a microphone, let's say. It's just to follow. It's not a solo.
In chiesa si canta senza microfono, ovviamente.
In the church we sing without a microphone, so if you will make mistakes,
Si partecipa insieme al coro.
we participate with the choir.
Se vogliono. No, dico, se vogliono loro si possono mettere d'accordo con Carmelita, perché io manderò le cose a lei e insieme possono fare delle cose.
No, Carmelita in questo momento è troppo impegnata. Gli ho detto che me lo possono confermare, a me glieli faccio avere. Perché Carmelita sta facendo un trasloco adesso.
Ma fare avere gli spartiti che non ce la
Ok, certo.
Quindi se loro vogliono fare questa cosa, riescono ad avere un gruppetto, possiamo anche collegare con me.
Ok, ho capito. So if you want to have rehearsals,
un bel gruppetto di persone di
can sing with you over there, and you can practice over there, because she will have the music sheets and she's able to read the music as well. Anna, I'm wondering, this is not the first time that you are being part of our Zoom meetings, because I already saw you.
Yes, yes, I've been away for quite a while.
Yeah, but I remember you. Are you related with the Salerno family as well, right?
Yes, Joseph Salerno was my great-grandfather.
Okay, just tonight, I was talking with Milena Salerno, who was part of the Zoom meeting last week, and she promised that she was going back home in her mom's house, opening all the drawers to look for some pictures. We discovered that she is a third cousin with Gary. Gary is not here tonight, no. So if she's a cousin with Gary, she has to be related with all the branch of the Salernos, including David Randall, Kim Matteo, and maybe you as well.
Yes, I'm related to Gary.
So Nika, tonight she sent me telling me that she's not able to join us in our meeting because she has the little girl with her. But she sent me all of those pictures. I would like you to show them to the group and to Anne as well, because you are related. So this guy, let me see what she wrote me on WhatsApp. 1 second.
Is that Sebastian?
Allora, aspetta. Dov'è Milena Salerno? She says this is
is the son of
Scarpa.
Yeah, Pippo Scarpa is the son of
Giuseppina
Salerno.
Yeah, I said Giuseppe Scarpa, figlio di Giuseppina, so the mom of this guy was the sister of Milena's grandfather. So let's say figlio di Giuseppina. So let's say that this guy with Milena's father, they were first cousin.
So this is the Santoro Salerno family.
Yep. Beautiful.
Now, was she a sister of Joseph? Because I just learned from Gary that, a few months ago that he had sisters.
Well, I can show you what her relationship is. Let me see if I can bring up her.
And she's craving to know all of you. The other day on the phone, she cried. She said, finally, I'm realizing the wish of my father that was to meet the relatives in Omaha. And she cried, so sweet.
Oh my.
So her connection is actually out one generation further. So your shared ancestors are Giuseppe Salerno and Lucia Butera. So, and this comes off of Milena's, father, grandfather, great-grandmother.
Well, that's just further back than I've ever seen.
and this is
Si chiamavano Salerno.
second grade, and then Giuseppe and Lucia are third grades. So you share third grade grandparents, I believe is how it works.
Wow.
And so let's go back to you, Anne. And I'll show you that I have your tree that far out now.
Wow.
So here's your Salernos through
Right.
Giuseppe and Antonino and Agata. And Antonino's parents are Giuseppe and Lucia, the same ancestors that she shares.
Wow.
So that's your connection to her. It's remote, but it's still a connection. And she is very excited about all this, and she's been sharing a lot of information with us about I mean, it's interesting because she is like a double Salerno. When you look at her tree, you see that.
Well, some cousins married cousins back then.
Yeah, Salerno is her surname, but it's also, see, these two were both Salernos and they were married. So the connection is actually not off of her paternal line, but, well, it is off the paternal line, but it branches to a maternal line here.
Okay. Wow.
So that's what we know about Milena. And then yeah, like Eleanora is saying, that she's sharing all these pictures with us. This is Concetta Salerno, sposa, wife of
Yes.
La figlia.
Salerno. Oh, Sebastiano Salerno. She's the daughter of Sebastiano Salerno.
Salerno Concetta è la figlia di Sebastiano Salerno, the daughter of Sebastiano Salerno, che si sposa. She married.
To go back to.
So beautiful.
Oops,
Bellissimo.
so her tree, Concetta, is here.
I see.
But I don't think that's the same Concetta, because that looked like a 1950s photo. Doesn't that look like the 1950s to you?
Could be.
It could be.
Daughter of Sebastiano. So,
Wow.
it might be like a sister of Isidoro. No, because she said it was a daughter of Sebastiano. I don't know. That doesn't add up.
Isidoro aveva una sorella e un fratello. Il fratello si chiamava, mi pare, Sebastiano.
So this is the picture, Jim, and that's a 20th century picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
But she says it's Concetta Salerno, daughter of Sebastiano.
Allora, Nick, in questo cosa c'è scritto che la Salerno Concetta è la figlia di Salerno Sebastiano e si sposa.
Very, very moving to me.
Eleanor, did you hear that?
Eleonora, ci sei?
Sorry, Salvo Palmeri was asking me things. Yes, now I'm
Allora,
here.
Eleonora, secondo me questo scritto che c'è qua significa che Salerno Concetta si stava sposando ed è la figlia di Salerno Sebastiano. Non pensi?
Salerno Concetta, sposa, figlia Salerno, Antonino.
No, Antonino è cancellato.
It's not Antonino, it's
praticamente
Sebastiano.
questa signora qua è Salerno Concetta che si sta sposando ed è la figlia di Sebastiano Salerno. Secondo me significa questo.
So this is the picture, I think that.
Yes, exactly. There is a comma missing because should
The
be.
problem, the problem is that this Concetta Salerno is not the same as the one on her tree, which is,
Oh, yeah.
she died
Right.
in 1950. So I think that picture was probably
Infatti, visto che qua è la figlia di Sebastiano Salerno,
in the
Concetta
40s.
è
and
la figlia di
50s.
Sebastiano Salerno.
No, ma questa Concetta Salerno non può essere morta nel 1950. È questa foto che è la fine del 1800.
No, non penso. È più
No,
recente.
it's too,
Più
yeah.
recente, più recente.
This picture is 19, could be 1940.
Anni 60, anni 60.
1940,
Io ho detto anni 40,
1950.
forse.
No, a me sembra di cioè, guarda, quella lì ha la minigonna, se guardi bene, la gonna è corta. Per me è anni
There is a
60.
lady, Silvana, she said that there is a lady with a short skirt, so it has to be 60s.
Okay,
Potrebbero essere anni 60.
yeah, here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Hai visto? Vabbè che forse è una bambina, non lo so.
I think this might be the Concetta that she features here. Di Santoro of Omaha,
Sì.
Nebraska.
Salerno, Concetta di Santoro. Anche Isidoro ha una sorella a Carlentini e un fratello.
I have a lot of pictures. I just brought them from San Mateo.
Bellissime queste foto.
Yeah, if you can digitize those pictures and give
Yeah,
them to us.
I
I'd
will.
like to add them to this tree.
I definitely
Yeah,
will.
those are beautiful, it's true.
Erano bellissime.
I can send them to you.
Queste
And
delle date tutte di Lena, queste foto?
Oh, thank you. That would be great.
are we friends on Facebook? Let me see. Spelling.
It's Ann Fanchulo Sperling on Facebook.
I'm trying to forward them to you, and
Fanciullo?
Yeah.
No. Ann Fanciullo Sperling.
Viull.
is it Ann with an E?
No E.
Viejo, Mission Viejo.
That's right. California.
Yep, here we are.
Okay, I just sent you that group of pictures, I think.
Thank you. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you on Instagram?
I have Instagram. I never go there.
Well, this.
I don't do it.
Currently, we're not friends on Facebook, so
I don't know if she sends me more than a copy. I'm sending all of them as she sent to me. Maybe there are some of them that are made twice. I don't know, just sending all of them. All right.
So that one picture, was that in Italy? Or is that in America? The one with Concetta Salerno?
Good question.
Because is that,
I think we froze up here. Ron. Yeah.
Let me see if we have Nick Giblisco over here. No, he left. Okay. Hello, baby. Start to go to sleep. Say hi to Omaha. Hello. Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a pretty cat. Very pretty.
Yes, Mira. The little
Beautiful.
terror. The little terrors. Okay, guys.
Okay, it's really late, so we should call it a night or an
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
have a last sentence as always about the Sicilian culture.
Okay.
Today I learned from a man who is 95 years old the secret for the longevity. A glass of wine for lunch, a glass of wine for dinner and mind your business. Oggi un signore di 95 anni mi ha insegnato qual è il segreto della longevità.
Okay.
Un bicchiere di vino a pranzo, un bicchiere di vino a cena e fatti i fatti do.
Se non farete ammazzare.
Sempre.
That's good.
You have a
Okay.
good day. Ciao
Oh,
belli.
Bye, ciao.
Grazie Silvana.
Ciao a
Abbraccio.
tutti. Ciao,
Ciao,
Angelina.
ciao.
Ciao, Gio. Ci vediamo
Ciao a
la
tutti.
prossima volta.
Sì.
Ciao, buonanotte.
Ciao.
Buonanotte per noi, per loro, buon pomeriggio.
Buonanotte.
Ciao a tutti.
Good night, all.